Hello guys, welcome to another episode of What If Deku Died Inside of Spring Bonnie. This is going to be part 2. You guys really like this series, I don't know why. And one of my friends was confused a little bit on the plot, so I'm going to explain it. Everything happens 44 years earlier than in the canon, because if you know the FNAF game lore of FNAF 3, you know that it took William Afton 30 years to rise from the dead, and if everything happened in canon that I just explained in the story, everybody would be grown up, everybody would be a pro hero, everybody would have a family, and there wouldn't be any story for me to tell. Or maybe everybody would be dead because of a few events that happened, and that wasn't there. So yeah. So let's start this episode off. Last time left off, Deku was just looking at this city from a rooftop or so. I don't remember where I last left off, even though it has been just a day. So Deku was looking around. So we're going to do a time skip about, let's say, 3 months. All of the heroes were getting like news that like a vigilante is killing the villains, and all of the heroes have been searching for whoever did this, but they don't find anybody. And I'm adding another power to Izuku, like he can make his illusions real. So yeah, let's continue. They have been frantically searching, and Aizawa was one of the heroes that was searching for whoever this vigilante was that was killing all of the heroes. And one night he actually found the villain, but he didn't know if this was the villain because nobody ever saw the face of the villain. And he saw that the Deku was, and Deku was like the vigilante. He doesn't know what his name is, but I'm going to say Deku. He saw that Deku was like seeing a man, and in his other hand, it was another spring bonnet suit, but this one can't contain a soul in it. It doesn't have any remnant, so the soul can't get stuck into it. Then he throws the man into the suit and activates it and kills the man. And if you ask why the souls are okay with this, because these are villains. The soul, them, they don't care for the villains. They kill the man without a care in the world, and he was a villain, so they don't care what happens to the villains. And the soul said good job to him, and Deku said thanks out loud, and Aizawa was like thinking to who said it, and Aizawa thought this maybe this is the villain, because this is the way the villain has been killing all of the villains. Either the villains were like just gone and only blood spatter left, or in a suit that was like this. So when Deku was about to leave, all of a sudden, a scarf wrapped around him, and Aizawa came kicking like Deku's head, but actually hurt Aizawa because Deku was made out of metal, and Aizawa held his knee because it hurt a little bit, and he just jumped back and then was about to throw his scarf, but all of a sudden, like there were hundreds of spring traps all around him. These were only illusions, not real ones. Deku just wanted to fool him, and while Aizawa was trying to get like the villains, Deku just like was not villains, Deku's illusions. Deku just came behind him, hit him in the head, and then disappeared again in the crowd of the illusion of his. And our Aizawa was trying again, and then he came out of the corner again and again, hitting Aizawa from left, right, his back, his front, until like Aizawa was almost knocked out, and then Deku made his clone disappear because Aizawa was nearly knocked out, and he went to Aizawa and told him to leave him alone and then just punch Aizawa in the face, knocking him finally out. And then Deku just went away, and a few hours later Aizawa wakes up, and he was like, who was that? What kind of quirk is that? And were those guts that I saw inside of that suit? My head hurts. I think, and I go to the recovery girl, and as he went to the recovery girl, when he came to her, she asked she asked him what happened to him, how it was the villain, and Aizawa told her no, it was not a villain, it was a vigilante. The vigilante has been keeping popping up in the news and newspapers that saying that he's been killing villains. He has not killed a hero yet, but definitely has hurt heroes. So yeah, and the recovery girl heals him, and he's back up in his feet, and then and he goes to All Might and tells All Might about what happened, and All Might was like, I'll go investigate it, and like this is going to be like skip a few weeks now, so like I'm going to give Deku a few forms. He's going to have like the Spring Bonnie into the pit Spring Bonnie form, and maybe I give him a few down the road more, but those are going to be the one he has into the pit Spring Bonnie form. In that form he's fixed, but he likes this form the most because it's the scariest. The other form is scarier if he has his mouth open, but yeah. So yeah, let's continue. So as All Might was like, this is like 2 or 3 weeks later, and All Might finally found Deku, and when this is when Deku was killed, just another villain, and then All Might just jumped at him, punching him in the face, launching him at like at a wall. Just let me get a picture. So this is what just happened. All Might just dislocated the jaw of Deku, and all of the souls were looking angrily at All Might, and they attacked All Might. And All Might was a bit like scared of this because he didn't know what those were. When he tried to punch those things, his hand just went through them, and then the souls grabbed him, dragging him down to the floor and not making him able to move. And then Deku just reattaches his jaw and just goes up to All Might and grabs All Might's like just punches All Might in the back of the neck and knocks him out. Yeah, Deku's strong AF, and knocks him out, and he like makes a note and writes in it, All Might, I am sorry, but you were in the way. By the way, I'm a big fan, and places the note on All Might's chest. And after a few hours, All Might woke up and he found the note, and he read it, and he was a bit confused because this is a vigilante that was killing like villains. But yeah, and when All Might went back to the UA, and when Nez asked him if he found anything about the bunny, All Might told him no, because this would ruin the reputation, the people sided of their protector, and they would look down upon him and not trust him anymore because he lost and stuff. So this is Deku. Like Deku has been like going to underground places where Shigaraki was going, like recruiting villains for the attack for the in the USJ, and Deku was just hiding in the shadows, nobody being able to see him. But he was here, like everybody talking, and Shigaraki has been like talking about to a few villains that he was going to attack the USJ, and he asked for all of their help, and then Deku just like, oh, whew, catching my breath, man. Talking really takes the air out of me. So Deku just like was listening to the planets, and when they opened the portal, Deku just like his illusions can make real. So he made a tracking chip Yes, it's very similar to Momo's quirk, but it's not at the same time because he can make living objects. So yeah, and he threw a chip as little as 1 millimeter on Shigaraki, and the villains got into their base, and that could just track them down and just in went to their base, and then he was hiding in the shadows again and was listening to the speech that Shigaraki was giving. Shigaraki was saying, "In a few weeks, we shall attack the heroes and kill All Might. This will be the day that all of the hero society falls when they see their piece of symbol fall to the ground. They all will fall after him. Without him, the heroes will be no more." But Shigaraki didn't know that one person specifically was like listening in all of this, and he was like, thinks he can take All Might out. Even all these people here combined wouldn't be able to take All Might out, but guess I'll go there and see things if All Might needs help. I could help him, and he'd ask the souls if he should help All Might, and like two of them say no and two of them say yes, and then here it comes down to his opinion, and he says yes. But the two souls that says no, why would you help him? He dislocated your jaw, and he told him, well, I am somewhat of a vigilante, killing like villains, and that is not good. And the soul said, oh fine, we'll help. So Deku just went, and this is a few weeks later. Deku was waiting for all of the villains to go to USJ, and when all of the villains stepped out, he was just like looking at them. He was still hiding in the shadows, so nobody is seeing him. And he saw everything going down about how Aizawa was defeating villains, and he was saying in his head that Aizawa is pretty strong, but he was able to beat Aizawa because his like illusions was he didn't make them real. So when Aizawa threw his scarf and tried to pull himself, his scarf just went through the clone. So yeah, let's continue. And then like he saw then Aizawa that he beat almost every villain, but all of a sudden the Nomu came on and punched Aizawa. Aizawa was sad, and Aizawa went flying to the stairs, and the Nomu went after him. And when the Nomu was about to punch Aizawa, all of a sudden like all of the souls grabbed the Nomu's hand and then threw him away from like the from uh Aizawa. And when Shigaraki saw this, he was pretty shocked because the Nomu is pretty strong and pretty heavy. And then Deku just came out of the shadows, stopped hiding, and all of the villain that was left looked at him with fear because he's pretty like scary looking, and he made everything look like it's night and stuff. And like yeah, the souls were behind him like this, like they were in their animatronic forms, and so like they were really scared of him. and and then this was a cliffhanger. See you next time.